It'll be good to see them again, don't miss that. Yeah, yesterday we revealed the real reason Jennifer Aniston and John Mayer broke up, because apparently of his obsession with Twitter. And it definitely hit a chord with you at home. The chat room went into absolute overdrive with people telling us their experiences with relationships and technology.
Elena in Victoria says since her husband discovered the PS3, she only sees him once a week.
And Alexis from New South Wales says her partner plays online games, get this, for 4 hours every night and 9 hours on weekends. She's worried her 6-month-old daughter won't know her dad because he spends more time online than he does with them.
And Athy from Victoria says her ex-husband's gaming obsession was a major contributing factor in their divorce. When she walked out on her husband, she took the PlayStation with her for the kids, and her ex immediately went out and bought a new one rather than buying new bedding for the children. Geez, what does that say? She says it gave her the perfect excuse as to why they could never have stayed over at his place.
These responses really shocked us yesterday, so we needed to know more about it. What is it about technology that drives couples apart?
Dr. Andrew Campbell is a psychologist from the University of Sydney, and he's been researching this subject for the past 10 years. Good morning to you, Andrew.
Good morning.
Researching it for the last 10 years, are you seeing this become more and more common in relationships?
Yeah, very much so. It's a growing phenomenon that we're seeing in Australia. It's actually been growing in other countries faster, but now it's starting to really become an impacting problem in relationships across all generations in Australia.
Now, the majority of emails we received to the chat room were about those online games and the gaming consoles. What makes them so very addictive?
Well, there's two sides to it, actually. If you're just playing the game between you and the machine, it's quite literally the old, I want to master it, I want to be the best at this game. And it's a personal challenge. But the more insidious side is perhaps the ones that are the massive multiplayer online games where you're actually playing other people and forming a community online as well. So that can be quite challenging.
Okay, it gets you hooked in.
Gets you hooked in. Other people are pushing your buttons as well as the machine's pushing your buttons.
Sure. Do men find these games more addictive than women?
We haven't found really too much differences. Men predominantly are the main players of the games, but we're seeing an increase in female players, especially between the ages of, say, 16 to 25.
Okay. What are the signs then that your partner is addicted to this technology? I'm guessing 9 hours a day on the weekends will do it.
Well, that's definitely a high level of play, and the biggest sign is the fact that they start closing off any kind of communication with you and their friends, their work responsibilities. Things tend to take a backbench, while this particular addiction, you could say, is sort of the all-encompassing focus of their lives. They must play this game.
Okay, so for example, you're invited to a barbecue and your partner says, no, I can't go to the barbecue because I'm playing this game. That's a sign, right?
Absolutely,
that sort of thing?
Definitely a sign. When they're starting to look at social differences, as in stopping social activities and moving more towards isolation with the game itself.
Okay, so what do you do? I mean, if you're the wife, for example, you're watching your husband doing this, what can you do? Because these women are saying, they've nagged their husbands, they've said, please don't do it, please come, and it's not making a
Absolutely.
difference.
Well, I've got to start by saying that communication is the first one, and it's important that you actually try to get them away from the game to have that conversation and not to be attacking about it, to try and work out why they're fixated with it as well, and then explain your case. More often than not, this does not work. So there are many other avenues now. We're seeing more and more psychologists and counsellors in general actually looking into counselling these types of problems in marriage counselling. Relationships Australia is looking into it. I'm one of those psychologists also looks into it as well. But there are some very difficult things to overcome, and that is that what was the start of the behaviour? And that's probably the best place to start, is like what made them so attracted to it, to get an understanding of what the game is so you can try to mediate that behaviour.
Right, get some help if it's beyond you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had no idea this was such a huge problem when we were chatting about it yesterday. Thank you very much for clearing it up for us, Andrew. Good
Sorry, how do you get your partner, though, to the counselling? That's tough.
It is extremely tough, and the biggest thing to do is perhaps try and find out other people that are actually gaming with that person and see if they're gaming the same amount of time. It really does take a matter of getting involved in the game yourself, or getting involved in the community yourself, to find out what's going on within that community, to then be able to talk to them about it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Some good words of advice for people who are affected. Thanks, Andrew.